Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Pickleball Plug OC. So today I got another paddle review for you all. It is the new J6CR by Honolulu Pickleball Company. This was released a couple days ago, I believe. I got my hands on it a little bit early, so I've been able to play it for about a week now, maybe a little over a week. And yeah, I'm just gonna start off by saying that this is probably my favorite foam core paddle right now. I think with the foam core paddles, I was having the issue of them being just way too stiff, way too poppy. The J6FC kind of fixed that a little bit, but to be honest, the J6FC Plus was just not powerful enough to really be a top contender. It was a very like control oriented paddle, which is great for, if you're looking for control, but a lot of the latest paddles are power paddles, and if you're able to control the power, then that's more of an edge. So yeah, as far as how it feels, I would say it probably feels the closest to a Gen 3 paddle of all the foam core paddles. It feels a little more hollow. You have more dwell time with this, but you still retain a lot of the poppiness and the power that you get from these Gen 4 paddles. I would say it's very similar to the Loco in like power and pop. However, it's more controllable, mostly because of the extra dwell time. I feel like with this paddle, it's easy to do like softer touch shots. And then, yeah, as compared to like the Loco, where I just feel like the Loco was a bit too stiff. So you don't really have time to do like touch shots and whatnot. I found that like often with this paddle, I'm able to add power where I need it, but also, do a softer shot without problems and without doing too many pop-ups. Because I think that really was the issue with the Loco for me. I find myself popping up a lot of resets and a lot of drops, and that hasn't really been the case with this paddle. So that's kind of what makes it, for me, the best Gen 4 out right now. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into the different categories here. I'll compare it to some of the other top paddles. Starting off with power. I placed it, well, on screen here, I put it right before the Loco, but I would say it's right there, up close to the same amount of power that you get from a Loco. It's hard to say here because like with all these powerful paddles, there's a limit to where they can push, because of the PB Core 43. So I don't know the specific rating for it, but it feels up there with the Loco, the Opal, and the Boomstick. So yeah, it's hard to say. All the top end power paddles right now are like just getting closer and closer to that limit, but there is a limit. So yeah, it's just as powerful as some of these other paddles. I think in a similar way, the pop also is getting up there close to the legal amount, but I will say I don't think it's as poppy as the Loco. I would say just a smidge less poppy than the Loco. I found that like I was able to kind of restrain the amount of pop that I was giving to the ball. So that's kind of interesting about this paddle. I just feel like even though the pop level is so high, it is still pretty controllable. So that's why I've been really liking this paddle. It's definitely my favorite foam core right now. There's not many more that I haven't tried, but so far this is one of my favorites. I think one other one that I want to try is the Proton Peacock, but in the 13 millimeter. because I hear that the thinner cores on foam add more dwell time, and so then therefore a little more control. So yeah, but for now, J6CR has been really impressive, honestly. So moving on to last category here, control. And this is kind of where I think this paddle shines. Despite it being a foam core paddle, it has really good control. Obviously, I commented on earlier that the J6FC is still kind of the most control-oriented paddle I've felt in a while. And then especially considering that it's a foam paddle, but it just lacks power, so it's just like, I don't know, a whole different ballgame with that one. But as you can see here, the J6CR falls kind of in the middle here for control, but definitely on the top end for Gen 4 paddles, which you can see here on the left side. So you have the boomstick, which I find really uncontrollable. Local, a bit better, and kind of tied with the Opal, honestly. Those two are like pretty similar paddles. And then the Proton, I think, did offer more control than all the other foam paddles. And then that leads us to here, the J6CR, which I think offers a little bit more control than the Proton. And just the really cool thing about it is that, like, it offers more control, but also more power and pop. So, yeah, I don't know how they do it, but it's definitely apparent that, I don't know, this paddle has like the best of both worlds, you know, top end power, but also really good control. And that's kind of unique right now for foam core paddles. So yeah, that's where this paddle lands. Overall, very slick looking paddle. I really like this J6 design. It's my favorite shape by Honolulu, but I think also just my favorite shape overall. It has a really long handle, but the face still feels really long. So it has good reach, good two-hand, good space for two-ease, and yeah, I just really liking this paddle, really liking all the how often Honolulu is putting out good paddles. I've been a fan since the J2K. I always thought the J2K was a great paddle. And honestly, I would buy the J2K, or sorry, the J6K if they made that. That would be a pretty cool thing for them to do, is to, you know, keep the Gen 2 style on this newer shape. I would definitely buy that. But anyway, I would say this is probably the best foam core paddle overall. So if you're in the market for a new paddle, Honolulu makes great paddles. The only thing I will say is that because they pump out so many paddles, I think their resale value goes down very fast. So for example, the J6 FC Plus, I think retailed for like $190, and I was like having trouble selling it for like $120 even at the end there. And I've had a similar thing happen with the J2K Plus. Bought it for, I want to say it was like $150 or something, and I was having trouble selling it for $80. So that's just how it is with these smaller brands. You know, the value doesn't hold up as long, and especially Honolulu. I don't know, they just crank out so many that people forget about them or don't even, you know, they move on. So with something like a Yola or like a Selkirk, I feel like those hold their value more because they're bigger companies, and people are just getting into the game now that those are the big companies, and you know, they'll be in the market for those kind of mainstream paddles longer. So but anyway, I think yeah, this paddle is going to be a good one, good contender so far for 2026 paddle of the year. I know it's early, but I don't know how much better paddles can get, honestly. I think the surface grit is kind of where these where the innovation is going. We have companies coming out with like the Infinigrit, the diamond encrusted grit from 6.0. I think Spartus has their own grit, and 11624 is coming up with their own grit technology. So anyway, if you like this review, please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.